Okay, so we did a workshop last night at an organisation called Men in Touch in Covent Garden, a place called Neil's Yard. It was a 3 hour workshop. The format was Bonobo birth, and then the activities of the Bonobo experience, and then it was going to morph into a Bonobo massage. So that was kind of how it was set up. We'd got 17 participants and 2 assistants. The facilitators were Maven and myself. So we entered the space, we got everything set up. It was a great space that was good size for the amount of people. People started to arrive, and it was a new energy for me. Most of the workshops we do are either at festivals or they're at sexuality events. So people are already embedded in an event and then they're just coming to the workshop. So they're out of work mode, they're away from a city usually. So last night was very much not that. So people would arrive, there was no talking amongst each other. There was kind of an apprehension I sensed from everybody. I didn't think that anyone knew anyone out of 16 people. So there was a real sense of distance from this crowd that only started to become more apparent when we were doing some of the warm-up activities. So the upside down face was a real struggle. I thought that, usually people find it hysterical to be looking at each other upside down and seeing a new face, and, usually get laughter and a little bit of absurdity. But with this crowd, it was like stumm, like nobody was kind of wanting to kind of express any sort of humour around it. I was wondering if anyone was getting it, but I think they were. So that was a struggle. I was just like, oh no, this is going to be a hard night. And then we did the warm-up bonobo activity, and at that point, someone left. So obviously they were like, "Whoa, this is just too weird." So one person left, but that didn't really disrupt the crowd. Nobody really noticed that he'd gone. So we did that, and then we moved into the bonobo birthing ritual, which partway through someone's phone went off, so that was annoying. And then it was a bit of a slog going through it. I sensed that, and Maven sensed that there was a rigidity and it just didn't seem relaxed, that people weren't really kind of responding in the way that they normally would to the work. So, and then they were born, and then they started to interact, and I think the moment they were able to touch one another, like in the grooming where we give them raisins that act like mice and grubs, and they got to interact with one another, that started to kind of loosen them up. But none of them were vocal. Maven and myself were kind of trying to really keep that bonobo energy going, make the noises, and but Maven said, and I concur with him, is that like these guys, the thing that they're most familiar with is being probably in group sexual environments, not bonobo foolery. So their default was to kind of get into this very clustered, separate clusters of sort of circular erections, and it was difficult to kind of really start to loosen that and make it different to what that was. We tried to we introduced a leopard to try and break that up, but that didn't really work. And the assistant who was kind of managing the space, he came up to me at one point and says, "Oh, I just don't want them to fuck." And I was like, "Well, no, they're not going to do that." But I did sort of make it clear after that this is not an orgy space. Enjoy yourselves, but don't go into full sexual don't go into full sex. So we'd got one person who was helping us that was apprehensive, and then Maven and I that were trying to keep the bonobo energy going. But by this point, we felt like we'd kind of lost them into this kind of gay hypnosis sexual environment. So that was really hard to sort of move beyond after that. So an aspect of the work had changed and we went into the hand signals, nobody was really interested. It was really hard to sort of get that moving into a cerebral kind of bonobo thing again after they'd been in this kind of lazy fuckery space. So yeah, all in all, it was a great learning to see, well, we can offer this sort of workshop every couple of weeks as a meetup for men to come here after work, relax, and use the bonobo experience to gently bring them into a sexual space of connection. On the flip side of that, we would imagine that it'd be quite hard to, if we were going to do that, we'd be much more structured and much more clear about what that was going to be. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Certainly think that this is an area where we can run workshops and, you know, we can get paid well for it. I think that that's definitely something that we learned from last night. And also learned that we could certainly do an all-male retreat. That's something that we would definitely consider doing. So, yeah, all in all, it was a good night. We didn't accomplish what we wanted to, but it was a success, and all the same, it was something that I can look back on and go, that was good. You know, people went to an event, they explored and learned a little bit about bonobos, and they connected with one another. And, you know, what more can we ask, really, of people that have been at work all day and they're not going to a performance evening, they're not going to a festival, they're just going to a workshop to meet other guys. And there was a real sense of, there wasn't a sense of too much of a sense of lust and kind of consuming the sexual space. It was much more gentle and nurturing than that, but there was an aspect of sexuality that was more than we expected. But hey, thank you.